guys, I'm here with a new day and with a new deck, and today we're using Naya tokens. I'd just like to start things off by apologising for not uploading yesterday. I just didn't have enough time basically. I had set myself 2 hours to record and that 2 hours got swallowed up by work, so I'm going to make up for it today though, because as well as this deck tech I'll be uploading a match as well today just to make up for it. So yeah, without further ado, let's move into what cards I've put in my Naya's tokens deck. And so far this deck has been doing really well like off screen, but hopefully you can continue that on screen, but no my luck it probably won't. So yeah, without further ado, first card we run is Cloud Shift. This guy is really good because a lot of my creatures have good like end of the battlefield effects, plus a lot of them need protecting as well. So this guy he dodges a removal spell, plus you get the added benefit. The card this deck is mainly built around is Captain of the Watch. Like I wanted to build that's a new card I saw, which I thought, right, I wanna have that deck, and I didn't just want to do like mono white Captain of the Watch deck, so I decided to spice things up a bit, and yeah, this gels really well with Captain of the Watch, as do a lot of cards in this deck. So this is half my protection. I run all 4, but sometimes you don't want to bouncy creatures. Sometimes you want them to just stay on the field, which is where God's Willing comes in, where this lets you scry, plus you get protection from all like you can get protection from any colour that's threatened, so you can dodge any board wipe, you can dodge target removal, or even if you've got a big enough creature you can just get in for lethal, because you can just make your creature the protection from their blockers. And yeah, so I'd say they're both good in different situations, so that's why I decided to run 4 overall. Next we move on to half our removal, which is Reprisal. We run 2 Reprisal, and yeah, destroy target creature with 4 power, so basically any big threat which your creatures can't handle, Reprisal destroys, and it's a pretty strong card, and yeah, it's instant speed as well, so if they like surprise buff a creature, you can just wipe it out, which is always a good thing, so definitely happy to have this in my deck. Next we move on to Raise the Alarm. This is token generation, the soldiers as well, which works really well with Captain. And yeah, instant speed, so if you really need to, you can jump block and surprise block maybe opponent's creatures and they won't see it coming. It's a really powerful card, and yeah, it gels really well in this deck, obviously, as it is a token deck, and this gives you 2 tokens. Now is a card that I don't think there's a single white tokens deck which wouldn't even consider this, not having this guy in the deck. This guy's ridiculous. There's literally nothing on this card that's bad. Like even the fact that he's a cat soldier gels with Captain of the Watch. But I mean, Vigilance gives you tokens when he attacks, gives you tokens when he blocks. He's double white, but this deck is mostly white, like white it says in the main color. So double white's not too hard to see. I mean, I do get this guy out turn 3 plenty of times, and he does. If a card's 3 mana and it wins you the game, I mean, yeah, it's generally a good card. This is. Oh god, it won't let me zoom. There we go. This is our card draw in Mentor of the Meek. A lot of my creatures do have 2 power or less, or like generate tokens which have 2 power or less. So this just says draw loads of cards. It really helps you get your big threats early game, or if you've got big threats out, it helps you like try and find removal or something for their big threats. Fantastic card draw, and it's if I could run 4 in this deck I would. That's basically how it is. And yet again, this guy is a soldier. Next we run a Tender Knight, where originally in this spot I did run 3 Woolly Thokdars, but they just weren't doing. I mean, they didn't really gel. I mean, Woolly Thokdars are a lot better in the like big Naya creatures, and this really isn't big Naya creatures. This is mostly just tokens with a heavier. I'd say it's on the heavier end of a tokens build. So this guy he just works a lot better than the Thokdar average. He's a lot easier to get out. He's got first strike, which is obviously nice, and he also gives you a token when he comes in, so at least even if they do have removal, he just gets a 1/1 out of it, which is always a good thing. Really always happy to see him in my starting hand. Another fantastic card which just says win game is Baneser. I mean, demons and dragons are decently prevalent in this metagame, and it's also got the slight added bonus of flying, first strike and lifelink. It's 5 mana for a 5/5 flying with all them abilities. I mean, this card just says their value, and it's just. I've been played games where I went down to like 8 life and then finished the game on like 28, just from this card. That's how good it is, and they need removal, which is always a good thing in a card. Speaking of removal, we have Angelic Edict, because Exile has become, I'd say, at least 10 times better since the new cards came out, because You're going to be seeing a lot of them Darksteel Colossus, you're going to see a lot more Kozileks. Basically, a lot of, and with all the graveyard recurral and stuff like that, Exile and stuff is so good in this metagame. I mean, basically you've only got this and Anger of the Gods, and Anger of the Gods obviously doesn't work in this deck, so that's why it's not in. So this is Exile, and it's really good Exile that you can. I mean, a lot of big threats just get completely removed from the game. There's got no chance of getting it back. It's 5 cost, which I think is a bit heavy, but we can work around it. So this is Captain of the Watch. This is the new card that's in this deck. Vigilance. Other soldiers have Vigilance and +1/+1. And you get 3 1/1s, which are basically 2/2s as long as this guy stays around. This guy has already won me several games just from Cloud Shift, and just getting through. It's ridiculous, really. Fantastic card, gets you loads of tokens. Obviously works really well in this deck. We're always happy to see it, unless I've only got like a 1-land hand. But yeah, fantastic card. Really glad that added it. I don't think it's overpowered either. I just think it's a good card. Next we move on to red, where we really don't have too much red. We only have 5 cards, 2 Krenko's commands. These are slightly worse than Raise the Alarm in the fact that you can't instant speed cast them, but it's also slightly better because it buffs your Rebel Master. So it's kind of a split decision there. So I decided to run 2 and 2. I mean, it's good. It's more tokens, more things that you can do with your tokens, such as devouring later on, and just getting around your opponent, stuff like that. So I'm always happy to see them or Raise the Alarms. Rabble Master is the reason we're running red. Rabble Master is amazing. The other goblin creatures you control attack each turn if able. So yep, that's kind of be a problem if they've got like a Bane Seven run out, because you might not want to attack in, but you just have to keep giving them 5 life a turn. And yeah, but he generates a token every turn, and he is also a 3-cost card that they need an answer for fairly fast, otherwise he gets out of control. This was between, the next card was between Inferno Titan or Stormbreath Dragon. I opted for Stormbreath Dragon because I think it gels a bit better in this deck. Obviously Inferno Titan is amazing, as is this card, but this guy's got flying and haste, so you can help finish off your opponent if they've got like a decent board out, but you've got them quite low on life. He's also protection from white, which means some removal doesn't work on him. And he's got, I suppose you can say he's got a slight gelling in this deck with like double in season later on, because you can monstrosity and he becomes a 10/10 and deals some damage to your opponent. So I mean, it kind of works, but I needed a red bomb, and I just think this guy's a lot better than Inferno Titan in this deck. Next we move on to green, which is also fairly large in this deck, where we have 2 Genesis Hydra. Genesis Hydra is a card I love in tokens deck because it helps you get out them setup cards which you don't want to waste a whole turn playing. So like, such as Dublin Season, you cast this guy for 7, there's a chance you get a Dublin Season out for free, which is always good because you don't want to just devote a whole turn to casting Dublin Season. And there's obviously, I mean, this is a lot of fairly low end stuff. So I mean, there's a chance that even if you just casted this guy for 5, which is fairly low, you could get like a Brimaz out. Obviously it's a small chance, but yeah, I mean, if you needed to cast, I generally try and cast this guy for 7. That's my general. So yes, I suppose you can say he's a green bomb. This versatility really just stops him really being a bomb. Actually, we're on more card draw into Elvish Visionary. Elvish Visionary is a 1/1, draws you a card, helps you get land if you need it, helps you get bomb, and it's just any slow-ish green deck, they're always going to see this guy. He's just like a staple in so many green decks, along with Cultivate, which we'll get to later. We might as well do Cultivate now. Cultivate is, yeah, just ramp. It is mana fixing. Mana's not too bad in this deck, like I haven't been screwed too much, but obviously it's quite demanding because I think you need 3 green, 2 red and 2 white to cast everything in your deck. And this guy helps you get them like final calls you may be missing, and yeah, the ramp is also pretty good as well. Helps you skip out that awkward turn 4 where we have no playables, I don't think. So yeah, he's in the deck. I think he's also a staple in many green decks. The ramp is fantastic. Yep, and then here's another win condition in Beastmasters. I generally don't like to cast this card unless it says kill target opponent, and the only way it really says that is when you've got 7 creatures out, or you've got a way of giving it 7 tokens in 1 turn. Counters, I mean, in 1 turn. So yeah, I mean, like, it's won me games. It's ridiculous. There's not too much ways they can get around it because not too many people run like solemn offerings or Reclamation Sage. It's kind of died down again after the quantity of them cards increased after Garruk's expansion came out, because of Obelisk and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, this guy, I mean, he wins your games if you can get him. If I've got a spare turn, I will cast him, but generally I try and save it for 7 drop kill target opponent, which is always a good thing. Next we run on to Michaeloth, which is again another win condition. This deck has many different ways to win, and I have noticed that in playtesting with this game. But yeah, I mean, Devour, if you've got a bunch of tokens just lying around, this guy can just get really, really huge. Completely starts generating loads of tokens himself. And this guy with Dublin Season is absolutely insane, because for every 1 creature you devour, you get 8 sapling tokens. Just by the way Dublin Season works, because it doubles the counters on this guy, and then that doubles the number of tokens you produce. So it just gets absolutely crazy. And we do have ways to protect him with God's Willing and Cloud Shift if we need to. So that's always pretty prevalent. And speaking of Dublin Season, here it is. Dublin Season, not much to say, pretty much in the slower tokens build, I think. This guy's an auto-include, because it just gets so crazy. I mean, I won 1 game with Captain the Watch with this out, that's it, because I played Captain the Watch. I had Dublin Season out, I played Captain the Watch, I got 6 2/2s. My opponent still had a decent board, so he would have lived, but he made the mistake of trying to remove my Captain the Watch. I cloud shifted, that's 6 more 2/2s, that was game. And that's what this guy does, he just wins games just by letting your token effects become so much more devastating. Finally, we run a card I literally haven't seen yet, like not at all in the deck, and I've playtested quite a few games. And I've never actually played a deck with this guy in, even though he's a relatively old card now. And I'm interested to see how he performs, but yeah, I mean, this guy, if he hits the field, generally it just says win game, like instantly. As long as you've got 2 creatures or more, it just says, he goes absolutely nuts. And you can't argue with, I don't think you can argue with him in this deck. So hopefully we get to see him. I mean, I really haven't seen much of him, but he is only a one-off. Now we move on to the lands, where the main colours, like I said, are green and white. So we only run 2 Gruul Guildgates and 2 Boros Guildgates, because red is a secondary colour. And then we run all 4 Selnesia, because Selnesia is green and white. So yeah, they're the main colours, so we run all 4 of them. We run 3 Jungle Shrines, because that's all our colours. I mean, it's kind of self-explanatory there, I guess. And then we run 5 Plains, because Plains is the biggest colour, followed by Forest, where we run 4, and then 3 Mountains. So yeah, that is the deck. I mean, there's a couple cards we do miss out, such as Crusader of Odric. I'll get that up if it try not make the mouse make too much noise. It's a 3 cost, isn't it? There it is. I cast it. Yeah, I mean, I did consider running this card a lot. It's just I'm not a big fan of power and toughness equal number of creatures you control, just because if you top deck this guy when you need help, he's not going to save the day. And he doesn't have trample, which is really my main thing with this card. I mean, obviously he gels really well. And if I did slot him in, he wouldn't disappoint. He would be a good card. If I had a way of getting him trample, he'd be an auto-include. Unfortunately, I do not in this deck. But yeah, I mean, this is the deck, and thanks for watching, and I will be back in probably maybe an hour or 2 to use anyway, because straight after this I'm going to record some gameplay with it. So thanks for watching. If you have any cards which you think should have been put in, cards that you think should have been left out, please let me know, and I will debate in the comments with you. So thank you for watching. I'll see you guys in about an hour, I guess.